I cannot really explain it. If I could, I don't think I would have done the building. My name is Daniel Libeskind, architect, and Barbara Weil Studio was a lucky project to have a single client who is an artist who commissioned me to do a very modest but very important building in my oeuvre. Barbara is not just anyone. It's not just a painter or an artist. She is a unique soul in the world of art. She inspired me because she was a great artist whose work really was powerful. Studio Weil was conceived as a method in a mystical way, because art is mystical. Barbara Weil's work is mystical. It's not just some figurative, obvious representation of something. It's a world that opens into wonders of thought and meditation. Anybody looking at Barbara's colorful, amazing works would instantly see that there is a contrapuntal relationship between her forms and this building in which they hang. Weil's work has a place to be seen where that work could live and breathe in an atmosphere that is conducive to it, which gives enough oxygen for that work to live on its own and to be seen on its own. And so the building is really a counterpart. It's a background to the work as I conceived it. And yet it's very much a partner to reinforce the power of Barbara's work and to show its importance in the tradition of art, both in Mallorca, in Europe, and beyond it. One of the ideas that occurred to me was the connection of Mallorca to the things I loved about Mallorca, which I never visited before, which is Ramon Llul. Ramon Llul, the great mystic, the great philosopher, you can say the inventor of the computer in many ways, came from Mallorca. And he invented those amazing wheels, which had letters, Hebrew and Latin letters, numbers, which you could rotate and create new relationships conceptually and mystically. And I thought this was appropriate when I looked at Barbara's work, that work also was emblematic in many ways. It had a resonance with meanings which were not just obvious in the abstraction itself. They were referring to many other things outside of themselves. And his idea of deity, his idea of God, I found it on the island. And I found it also, whether Barbara ever had those thoughts, it didn't matter because it was in her work as well. That kind of strange displacement from the expected into something very clear and transparent. The character of art itself. So I think Barbara Weil's work and Ramon Llul and this house is a small celebration of the unexpected encounter. So the relationship to Ramon Llul here is not just a figment of my imagination. It's definitely in the island. It's in the center that island proposes in the vast geography surrounding it. And I think those wheels that rotate and continue to rotate in the world emanate from somewhere, and they emanate from this place. The circulation system in Barbara Weil's studio is very unusual. It's not really a building just with a stair connecting all the levels in an obvious way. There are interferences in terms of what you're expected and not expected to find in the view around you, in the environment. And I thought that was really appropriate because Barbara Weil's work is like that. There's sudden shifts in it, sudden points of light, sudden disconnections that give you the composition itself. And so the house, let's say the stairs, are split. They're not continuous, and they give you really a different segments of reality, which you of course experience as a whole by walking through the building and by enjoying the artworks. It's really, in my mind, a mirror image of Barbara's work.
Better than anything except...
So the idea of harmony isn't just a metaphor in architecture, it's a direct relationship to the acoustics of a building. And so working on any project, I'm always very aware that the ear is the organ of orientation, not the eye. It's really, we are balanced in the inner ear before we actually are stabilized, by our sense of sight. And so every building that I've done, and particularly this one, has had a close relationship in my own work to the idea of music. Working with Barbara Weil was really a unique joy because, first of all, it was the smallest project I ever did. Prior to it, I did museums and large-scale projects. I never did a small project, never did a house or a studio. But I discovered very quickly that the intimate scale is the cosmic scale. The intimate scale isn't just smaller than large-scale project, but actually opens the world into the wonders of architecture. Isn't it Hamlet who said, if I could contract myself to live in a nutshell, I could be the king of infinite space, except for the bad dreams that I have. And that's really the strange, miraculous attraction between the small and the grand, between the domestic and the cosmic, between the individual and the universal. The wheel, the circle of memory, which the house really represents, the studio represents, is really about memory. It's about art, it's about what is worth remembering, and it's also a guide to that memory. It leads you in many ways, sometimes ways which are not obvious, through a kind of labyrinth of experiences that presents you with memory itself of the person, of the art, of its meaning, and of the world in which it thrives.